Help me, Heather. I am making desserts for my family. I'm even making healthy desserts, and I'm overeating all of them. It doesn't matter if I'm making the brownies with black beans or Ghirardelli box mix. I overeat both varieties. What is up with that, right? So, in my journey, I created a rule for myself. It was a 3 strikes you're out policy. And what that means is when I do the behavior 3 times, if it ends in a dismal failure, I don't continue to repeat it, even as much as I want to believe I should. I should not have this problem. It should be easier. I should be able to make desserts just like every other mom and, cut the brownies nicely and serve a single serving and not eat the rest of the pan when no one else is looking, right? Like, I have all these stories in my head of what I should be doing, but in reality, 3 strikes, you're out. And so when I decided for myself, after brownies were my thing, by the way, I would make brownies, healthy, not healthy, doesn't matter. I would cut out the portions for everybody, and then I would spend the rest of the day cleaning up the edges and eating until there was no more brownies in the pan. And calories are calories are calories, whether you're eating 1,000 calories of black bean brownies with dates and God knows what else in there, or you're eating 1,000 calories of a Ghirardelli brownie, it really doesn't matter. It's still 1,000 extra calories in your day. And so what I devised was a plan for myself that I would only make enough for each person. So I decided I wasn't willing to never make desserts because I didn't want to do that. But I also got the idea that if the box says it makes, let's just say 20 cupcakes, 20 brownies, or whatever the number is, I would need to not make the entire thing. So I would take whatever it was and I would cut it down by half or a third, depending on how many people I'm serving. In this case, for my family, it's 5. So what I would do is I'd cut the recipe down, make less, and then I went on Amazon and I bought what I consider to be a lifesaver, which is different size Remkins. I have Remkins that are kind of souffle size. They're wider in diameter. You could put like an individual quiche in it. Or you could do a nice souffle. It's actually a very good size for dessert. And then I have smaller Remkins that would be good for like a brownie or something that would be smaller in physical size. And what I do is I cut the recipe, I individually portion them out before I bake them, and then I bake them. This has saved me from myself in my 8 years of maintenance because I've had made desserts for my family. I would make healthy ones, I'd make non-healthy ones, but really what it was not having an excessive amount left to contend with after we ate our treat, and having everybody safely in their own container to where I'm not able to pick at it, right? So there's one thing when you have a tray of brownies, you can kind of keep cleaning up the edges and nobody's the wiser that you've been eating it. But when it's in a Remkin and you take a slice off, all of a sudden your kids are like, Mom, what happened here, right? Because it should fill up the entire container. So this switch has helped me so much. And I want to share this because I know as we go into a holiday season, it's very feasible you might be baking more than usual. You might want to feel compelled to make a dessert. And I don't want you to fall into the same rut I did over and over again until I decided, nope, no more. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to say I'll never make desserts. I like to make healthy desserts. I like to make not healthy desserts. But I just know me, I can't have an excessive amount left over. And I need them all to be individually portioned. Another good way to individually portion desserts is to get those muffin tins. You can have regular muffin tins, and then they make like those jumbo muffins. That would be another good way to individually portion out the treats. And just to give you a couple tips, because some people have asked me this, if the recipe calls for 1 egg, how do I break it in half? How do I do that? So you can get super crafty with this. First off, you could make an entire recipe of something, but only bake half of it. That's one option. So that might work for a cake, that might work for cupcakes, whatever. You could leave it in the container in the fridge and only do half, and then do the other half either later that week or another time, or just throw it away. The world will not end if you do that. Okay, so make the whole recipe if you're nervous about that. And then what you do is you portion it out, and then you can chuck the rest, or you could save it for another time. Cookie dough works well if you're not going to dive into the freezer and eat it later, right? You can make an entire batch of cookie dough. If it says it serves 22 people and you got 4, you could break it into 5 equal chunks, freeze it. Again, unless you're going to be somebody who hits the freezer to eat out of the freezer. Another option is if you say, okay, Ghirardelli says I need 1 egg in this whole thing, but I'm only going to make half and I'm going to weigh out the contents. You take the egg, you whisk it, and then you just simply pour out about half of it, and you can either dump the other half in another recipe that you're working on, or again, you could throw it away, right? So these are just some tips to kind of help you on how to think about doing this. Some recipes are going to be super easy to cut in half or a third. Others, you may find it's just simpler to follow the recipe as written. Pour out, like however many family members you have, pour out that many into the Remkins and just rinse the rest down the sink. That might be a way easier methodology to use. And every time you get worried about, well, what about the cost or what about wasting? Remember that everything you eat that your body does not need is wasted as excess body fat or fuel that you have no need for. So it's either going to get wasted going in the garbage, rinse down the sink, or it's going to get wasted as additional stored body fat on you that you then have to later work to get off. So I always say, let the trash can take the waste versus you, but that's just a different way of thinking about it. So I hope this tip helps. Just because we make healthy desserts doesn't mean we can't overconsume. We really have to work on portion control and creating a home environment as much as possible that supports you with your goals and your new healthy lifestyle. Plus, this is hugely helpful for kids because they see how to portion things out. They understand that a portion of dessert looks like this versus what maybe they have when they get an entire tray or a tray of cookies, a tray of brownies. It might be harder to discern what is a portion. You're kind of teaching portions without advertising you're teaching portions. You just are doing it by the nature of how you're cooking. So I hope this video helps. You guys have a great day. Please like and subscribe to me on YouTube and let me know how I can better help you. All right, take care.